I would like to take a moment before we get into today's main episode and to talk about my sponsor for the podcast. Podmatch is a new podcasting site dedicated to all podcasters. The platform helps hosts get connected with potential guests to appear on their show, as well as allow guests to find podcasts that will give them a chance to share their story. Podmatch offers many tools to help organize your page, from to-do lists to episode planning to potentially appearing on a leaderboard. Podmatch has it all. The best part, you have the potential to get paid. And who doesn't like to get paid from home? I like to. With an easy sign up, you can start connecting with podcasters and guests immediately. I have been a part of Podmatch since the beginning of May, and I have got to say that it was the best decision I've ever made because Podmatch helps your podcast grow. It helps you get connected with people that have very interesting, very compelling background stories that are just waiting for their story to be shared. So if you are a host or guest and would like to start building professional relationships, explore more opportunities, and have your story shared, I highly suggest that you sign up with Podmatch today by going to joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to start expanding your network in seconds. I would like to give another huge thank you to Podmatch for sponsoring this episode. Now on to our main episode, and again, you can sign up at joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to begin your podcasting journey today. Hi everyone, welcome to the Lethal Venom Podcast, the show where I talk about anything I want with the honest to God truth, no lies told. Today I'm joined by Mr. Kristof Morrow. He is a disabled U.S. veteran, a #1 Amazon best-selling author, and is an award-winning journalist that has sold over 3,000 copies of his books, including The Second Son, which went viral on TikTok in June of 2023 and has been recommended by some university classes studying Victorian literature as a book of high praise and most recommendations. He has more than 2 million views across his videos, as well as readers in over 50 countries on all 6 inhabited continents. But his life story wasn't all rainbows and glitter. He um, had a very troubling childhood today, and he's going to be coming on and sharing a little bit about his life story with me today. So, Kristof, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to hear and have our conversation today.
Well, you're very kind to have me. Thank you, Shakespeare. Thank you for. I have Tourette's. I forgot to. Thanks, Noah. Thank you for having me.
So, if you could introduce yourself and just share with my audience a little bit more about you and what you do.
Um, well, my Shakespeare. My name is Kristof Morrow. I chiefly the two things I do most in the world are hang out with my friends and through Discord generally. And I write. Those are the two things I do all the time. Uh, I I I adore my work. Uh, I've worked in different fields as a writer. I've been a technical writer once actually for GE. I did Shakespeare. When I say Shakespeare, that's a tick for the people that are listening. Um, let's see. I was a journalist. I think you mentioned that. I won an award for feature writing and for photography. Um, yeah, that's really it. I think.
Well, I think that's awesome that you are an award-winning journalist because I study journalism as well. So I totally
Oh, cool.
understand the field of journalism that it's a tough field, but that's awesome that you were able to win an award and you've had all this success. But as I had mentioned, your childhood growing up was a little chaotic and at times was a little bit of a mess. Feel free to kind of share a little bit more about what childhood was like for you.
Hmm. Well, um, a symptom of the trauma like that kind of trauma, especially as severe as it was for me. I, I have very few memories, except the bad ones. My dad was really violent, um, and He's an alcoholic, uh, and a helpful way to describe how bad it was is that he used to hurt himself, hurting me. Mm, uh, it's quite painful. Um, I didn't do well in school. I'm now diagnosed with ADHD, and I have medication for that, and that's the only reason why I was able to write all these books. um, but yeah, I struggled through school, and I struggled at home.
Well, I think that, even all the things you've gone through, you've really come out on top. I think it's really important for people to know that, yeah, he has all this stuff that's happened to him in his life, but he's come out on top. He's been a very best-selling author. He's had very, very well received attention on social media. He's got people all over the country and all over the world that has followed him and has really know his name. And I think it's really important for that. Um, I kind of mentioned earlier that you were part of the. I swear about fell in my damn chair. So I've this I got a new desk chair and I've about fallen out of it like 2 or 3 times during this interview for some reason. I about flipped out of it. And so if you hear a huge crash or hear like a huge thud, it's me on my end dying. But you talked about a little bit about you being in the Navy, which I wanted to say
Mhm.
thank you so much for your service. I have so much respect for that. So thank you for all the work that you did. Um, was going into the Navy something that you always wanted to do?
I knew I wanted to serve in the military as a kid, um, and I think the notion of valor really enchanted me, uh, because I would have that opportunity to be there for someone when they needed help the most. Um, I it's going to sound silly, but in Saving Private Ryan, the film by Steven Spielberg, I saw while they were on the beaches of Normandy, the scene where the medic under fire is running up and performing care under fire, and I thought that it was the most beautiful thing I'd seen. Uh, for someone to do that for another person, I thought it was extraordinary, and I wanted to do that. So I became an EMT. I became a Navy corpsman, so I was a medic, just like the guy in the movie. Um, yeah, and I really enjoyed patient care for a long time.
It says here that when you were serving in the U.S. Navy, that you kind of actually learned how to ride. What was some things that you really liked to write about?
Um, yeah, I did. I taught myself to write. Uh, I I used to write poems and vignettes, just little bits of things, experimenting with words really, and learning the music of language, uh, because you need that foundation. I think it's a necessary thing. Um, I think that a lot of writers should study journalism, and they should study like writers like Hemingway, who writes very lean prose, um, because it'll help you can expand on it later. I've gotten to the point where I can uh, read and write resembling Charles Dickens. That's what I try to do anyway. Um, who I whose work I adore. I love his work. Um, yeah, and I used to write little short stories about all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I like writing too, but you kind of know from a journalism aspect that tends
Hmm.
to have a lot of writing in it. You have to write every time you have to write a story. And I actually kind of found out that I was a pretty good writer from one of my professors. I remember one of the times she was in class, we were in class, and she told me that I was one of the best writers she had ever taught. And I was like, thank you. But she said this in front of the whole class. So of course, everyone started looking at me, and I was just like, did you have to call attention to myself right now? And so,
That's
but
amazing.
I've really
Mm.
appreciated her for saying that so much because it meant a lot. I never imagined that I would be such a good writer. And um, I'm like you, I started out with poetry and short stories as well. I actually I think I've wrote about 100 poems.
Oh
I'm
wow,
a little crazy on that. Most
I
of them are
love that.
most of them are sappy. I will say most of them are like really sad, cry your eyes out poems because tends to be the best I can write. So whenever I'm depressed, my brain and my mind can really work. But then when I'm happy, I'm like, now what's the word that rhymes with this? It just doesn't come to me naturally. And then I started
Yeah.
writing short stories as well. So I've been dabbling in writing some, trying to kind of extend it and see what else I could really do with it. And it's I've done pretty well. I've kind of been really, really impressed by the work I've done and kind of what I've kind of have saved up.
Hmm.
I think one thing that's interesting on here is that while you were living in Louisiana, you actually got hired by a film director to help finish a script. What was that experience like, and how was it? What was it like working on a film set?
Well, it's the most uh, work I've ever done in my life. Uh, it's a tremendous amount of work you have to do when you're writing a movie. Uh, I loved being on set and watching them film scenes of with words saying words that I wrote. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Uh, I loved it. Um, I thought it was I adore that experience. I got to meet so many people that and watching so many people collaborate to create something unified was unifying. I think it was incredible. You share that experience forever. I think when you work with people like on a movie set and stuff, they become closer to you through that. Yeah, and all the free food was great.
I love that aspect. You know, it's like, yeah, everything on there, but the food was free.
Yeah,
So, was this like a popular movie that came out, or was it kind of like an independent short film?
it was an independent full length film. Yeah, and it was called Love and She. it's not. It's not. It didn't turn out like we hoped. Like we all hoped. We. Yeah. It was. But I enjoyed the experience of making the film though. So.
Well, and, I think that's really what all that matters at the end of the day is that you had a great time doing it and it was a fun experience. And it also looks good on a resume too. It's like, oh, by the way, I worked part-time as like a script writer for this movie. It'll add up to be a really good thing to have on your resume and good credentials to have in the future. So that's really interesting. Um, yeah, I just really like the multitude of like how your life has really gone. It's like you served in the military, you taught yourself how to write, you've done all of these different jobs, but beneath all that, you're secretly battling with addiction as well as with alcohol, and
Mhm.
you later became sober, which congratulations on sobriety as well. I know that's a
Thanks.
huge, huge thing to um overcome and huge thing to be really thankful for.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about how the alcohol abuse kind of started.
Um, I think it started with uh, trying to ease my anxiety around people, and to enjoy myself around people. I wanted to be uh, funnier and more interesting, and uh, I thought that alcohol was the path, the road to that, but I was wrong. Um, I started to drink every day, uh, and it nearly destroyed my life. Yeah.
What was the recovery process for you like? Was it kind of a difficult transition? Was it easy?
Hmm. I think you often try to reconcile the thought that you can still drink. I went through many phases where I was changing the kind of alcohol I drank so that I would drink less or not be as drunk. I went from liquor to just drinking wine, and then from wine to beer. But I would just drink a tremendous amount of all of those uh, things, um, until I quit when I was 27. I think it was uh, 2 weeks before Trump was inaugurated the first time he ran. So in January 6th, 2017, I think is when I quit. So that was a little 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. No, it was easy after I told myself no, no more at all. I was able to quit cold turkey. Um, yeah, and I haven't had a drink since.
Well, huge congratulations on 8 years sober. I know that's a huge accomplishment to have, and you know, it's really hard to do. So, congratulations on that. I know that's such a good thing to have. Um, I think one thing that a lot of people probably can't tell from the interview is that you kind of had mentioned at the beginning that you do have Tourette's syndrome.
Shakespeare.
Was was that something that you kind of started? What was it like, kind of living with Tourette's?
Well, it started when I was 19 and in the Navy. I had my first sort of what it was like. It was like a seizure, but it's what's called a tick attack, which sounds really cheesy for me. To me, for some reason, I don't know why. Um, but it was quite violent, uh, and living with Tourette's has imparted a useful way to understand other people's struggles. I think. Um, I I was I think that I was ignorant, a great deal ignorant of the way that people managed disabilities. Uh, but being disabled myself now, I have a richer understanding of what that is. Uh, yeah, Shakespeare.
What tends to be the most underrated or like the thing that people tend to really get wrong about people that have Tourette syndrome? What's one thing people really get they
Mm.
falsify a lot about?
Well, they don't know about the physical components of Tourette's generally, the motor tics. So I hit myself in the face a lot. Um, yeah, and most people don't. They think it's just the swearing and whatnot, but it's more than that. It's it can be very violent. I have my hand is like permanently messed up because I've hit it on so many things, uh, and so my knuckle is chronically inflamed on my right hand. Um, yeah, that's generally what people get wrong.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people just kind of associate it with they kind of have like the shakiness in the neck. They tend to have that. That's kind of one of the more common signs that people tend to have. And you are right about the cursing. I think that's what a lot of people associate it with. It's, oh, they have no control. They just blurt it out. And there's a TikToker. I don't know if she's on TikTok anymore because I don't see her videos anymore. But I remember that she would always kind of capture her tics in college a lot. She would be in college classes, and I can't remember what her name was to save my life. But um, she would kind of document what it was like living with Tourette's in a classroom, and I think it was kind of a very bold way of really being able to, not be afraid about what internet, because people can really say nasty things about anything, but especially on this because it's something that it can easily be made fun of. And you've even said that in here that you've been laughed at in public for it, which, I think it's shitty that people think that or would laugh
Mm,
at it. Now, I think when she does it, there's some aspects that are funny to where she does laugh at herself. But when you're doing like a lot of the huge body movements, I don't think that's funny at all. And I
yeah.
think people tend to think that the neck is one of the main things that happens from it. Have you had any kind of doctor say that if is there like a treatment that you can do for it, or is it kind of something that you're kind of just born, or like something that comes on that's really hard to treat?
There's very few. There isn't obviously there's no cure for Tourette's. Um, and there are very few medications approved by the FDA to treat it on label. Like there's a lot of medications that treat it off label, which means that it wasn't designed for the people that don't know. It means the medication wasn't designed to exactly treat that, but it has that passive effect. Um, uh, so I've experienced uh, an array of different medications to treat Tourette's when they were really fucking when they were really bad. Like I had a tick once for about a day where I was clenching my teeth, and I had to go to the hospital because I was going to break my teeth. I'm a cat, Shakespeare. Uh, yeah. So it's a lot of learning.
Yeah, and you kind of said that you first got Tourette's really when you were 19. People tend to really have it when they're younger, so to experience
Mhm.
it later in life, I bet that adds kind of another factor of, oh, this is kind of different from me. Was kind of one thing that you really wish people would really know about Tourette's that maybe they don't know a lot about, and it's something that they could really know.
Um, that it can be uh, pain. It is very painful. That is often uh, hurts physically to deal with, um, and that everyone's ticks are different. Everyone has different ticks. No two people have the same ticks that have Tourette's. Um, yeah, and that they change over time. They can change over time, rather. Mine have changed over time, um, different from different words. I say different words than I used to. I don't even remember the words I used to say, but I say the one I say most Shakespeare. The one I say most commonly is Shakespeare. And I am a cat. For some reason. I don't
Well,
know why I am a cat, but it makes me laugh.
well, and you know,
It makes my
it's
friends
real
laugh.
lighthearted. It's lighthearted, you know, because some people
Mhm.
could be like, "Oh," I was like, "Fuck," and they're like, "What?" Like, where'd that come from? You know, but I think that I think a lot of people need to know about, you know, when you say stuff like "I'm a cat" or Shakespeare, it's if they laugh at it too, you know, they don't really take it seriously. Like, as
Yeah.
you kinda said, you said that and then started laughing because it was silly, and it's like, well, it's silly, but, you know, it's very lighthearted and is warming, you know, I think
Yeah.
it's something because you know, I think you were right earlier, and I kinda had mentioned it before, but people tend to think that the people that suffer from Tourette's is, automatically think cuss words, and they just blurt it out, and
Yeah.
that's not the case in this scenario. You know, I think you're really doing a really good job of help break stereotypes very well. And it's also a thing of being open about it because most people that I think or I would think that would have Tourette's would be so scared to really come online, come on podcasts and really share what they're going through because to them it's kind of an embarrassing thing to have. They feel insecure about it because they don't know how people are going to they don't know how people are going to react when they learn about it because when you because people can be real nasty and cruel about a lot of things and they tend to really like to make fun of people that have disabilities. Um, I had kids that went to my school that actually picked on people that had autism, and I come from a very, very great school. But that's just how people are, and I think that you're doing a really good job of bringing awareness to it, and it's being really open and not being scared about what people are going to think about it. Um, has writing been kind of a way for you to be able to deal with all the past things that you've had to go through in life?
Mm. Well, I guess I want to say first, thank you for saying that. But Tourette's awareness, advocating on behalf of people with Tourette's. I'm actually the judge for a contest, for a writing contest. That all of the money that's raised is going to Tourette's Canada, and I'm the first judge that actually has Tourette's. Um, I'm fairly certain of that. It's not mentioned in the biographies of the other um, judges that have been done it in the past 4 years. The past 4 judges have done it. Um, Writing has been, uh, to your second question, writing has been a way that I've been able to manage all of my past traumas and tragedies. I think that tragedy is the mother of prose, or is the mother of poetry. I think, um, and I've talked about sobriety. I've talked about abuse. I've written about I've written about uh, even death, uh, and witnessing death, uh, and I talk about politics, the philosophy of politics and of government. Um, I've it's been the it's been the best way for me to uh, writing has been it saved my life. I think I love my work. I love words. I think that they're the only magic humans have ever created. Languages.
I 100% agree, and you know, I'm so happy for everything that's really been going your way, and you know that's awesome for you being a judge for a writing contest. I bet that's really exciting because you get to read a lot
Hmm.
of interesting stories from people, and you kind of really um showcase a lot of up and coming writers. I think that's really fantastic. Um, do you, and you kind of have published multiple books. Um, are you currently writing any books right now? And do you have any kind of future intentions of writing more books?
I'm writing my fourth book of the series right now. So this is the first one. The Second Son, volumes 1 and 2. This is volume 3, and this is volume 4. And I'm writing volume 5 right now. I'm about 41,000 words into it, which is not a lot. Uh, big, to give you an idea, not you, but the listeners, an idea that 98,000 words is the length of The Hobbit. So I'm getting close to have written about half of that. Um, yeah. My in terms of future, I don't know if I'm going to be writing anymore after this. Um, Admittedly, I don't know. I really don't know if I am going to survive very long after I get finished with the series. I don't know.
Why do you say that?
I just would rather not be around if I don't have my work. I don't want the podcast to get like censored. But yeah, I've struggled a lot with depression and anxiety, um and I've I'm proud of the work I've done so far and the work that I will do. I'm going to make sure the series is perfect first, of course. But yeah, and it'll be a few years before anything like that.
Well, I think you've got such a huge career ahead of you, honestly, and don't worry about censorship. I've said about every word in the book. I've
Mhm.
had people come on here and have said really, really dark things on here that
Mhm.
they've, I think for you to be able to even say that takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength. I've had people come on here talking about child abuse. Come on here about sexual abuse. They've come drugs and alcohol. They've talked about death on here. I mean, I've pretty much have
Yeah.
covered every aspect of topics on here. And then I've had fun conversations of comedians. I've had people that do ghost hunting on here, person that likes to study and learn about weed. It's like I kind of have that balance. So I don't want you to feel like you have to censor yourself because this is what this whole show's about is being able to open up and really share dark things, but have an open conversation about it and have people be not afraid to share what they're honestly going through. Um, I think you've got so much out for you. I think you've got I just know more blessings are to come. Um, your way. I think you're really strong, to be able to come from where you were as a child to where you are now. Um, I think you've worked really, really hard. And I think that takes a lot of courage to say that out loud. So I think you're going to be around a little bit longer than you think you're going to be. I think you're going to be here for at least 30 more years. I think you're going to be here for a very long time. So I don't want you to think that this is going to be the end of the road. I don't think it's going to be. I think you got a lot going for you, young man. I think you got a lot coming your way. And if people mess with you or anything, I'll make sure to send the 911 on their ass. But Kristof, appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing this story and for really sharing and opening up about what you're going through. I think it takes a lot of strength. And again, congratulations on being sober. Congratulations and thank you for the service that you did in the Navy. And to say congratulations on everything you have going on. I think you got so much support. And I know a lot of people probably listening to this would really like to support you and they would like to really resonate and maybe learn more about you. Um, where can they find your book and where's some places that they can go and find you and I guess stalk you if they want to? It's like, but promote all the things you have going on this to let people know where they can find you and most importantly where they can get your book.
Well, I've written uh, I've also written a book of poetry called "The War for Gentle Love," and it comes from a poem I wrote uh, at the end of the book, or at the end of the poem. It says, "Ancient and forever is the war for gentle love. We must not spare the fascists. We must not free the dove." Um, yeah, and that's a book that I have on Amazon, um, and I actually update it periodically. Believe it or not, so I add to it. Um, I think it's like I think I've written 65 poems so far that are in the book. Um, yeah. So that's on Amazon. You can go to kristofmorrow.com, and that has a link to my TikTok uh, and to my Amazon page for my books. Uh, yeah. So if you go to yeah, or you can just Google Kristof Morrow too and find a million different things. Uh, no.
As I always do, I'll put off his links down there below if you would like to go to his website. His website has a lot more information about his books that are coming out and books that he's already has released. I'll put the website down there if you'd like to go check that out. I'll also put his social media accounts down below as well so that you can go on there and follow him to see what all he has coming up and what he has in store for you guys. Um, Feel free to follow the podcast on social media. Follow me everywhere. Lethal Venom Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Noah's Podcast. And as always, listen to Lethal Venom wherever you get your podcast from. I'm available on all the major platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Pandora. It's everywhere. So feel free to follow it so that you'll get notified of when new episodes come out. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today's episode of Lethal Venom. Hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Be safe, and I'll catch you all in the next episode of Lethal Venom.